Hi, everyone. This is V Castro. I'm here on Forbidden Planet TV and talking about Aliens Vasquez, which you can pre-order now. And in a few short weeks, it will arrive at your door. So October 25th and November 8th, get those dates in your diary. And yeah, thank you.
Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner. It is my pleasure to welcome author Violet Castro to Forbidden Planet TV. How are you, mate?
I'm really good. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Off camera, we were just comparing notes about your home state of Texas.
Yeah.
Wonderful place that I've visited many times. But we're here to talk about something extremely exciting, which is your new Aliens novel, Aliens Vasquez, published in October by Titan Books in hardcover and available from the links attached to our conversation.
Yes.
So how did you come to be involved, Violet?
I started writing in 2017, and it was just something that I felt a really deep soul calling to do. And I had so many stories. And being Mexican American, the oral tradition is really strong in our culture. So I've always had stories. I've always kind of been a storyteller. And yeah, my career just kind of took off. And as the universe works in strange ways, I, began to meet more people, and I was just casually talking about my love of aliens and Vasquez, and most people know me for writing women of color and celebrating my culture. And I was talking about Vasquez, and he was like, "You need to write this book. You're the only one who can write it." And I was like, "Yeah." I originally thought of it as an Alien versus Predator book because I love Predator. I'm obsessed with Predator. But as it turned out, once I got to speaking to one of the editors, we agreed on this book and wrote the outline, and it happened the way it was meant to happen, as a lot of awesome things do. Things just aligned and fell into place. But it was one of those I guess little fires that had always been burning, and here we are.
That is a great story. And what can you tell me about the premise of Aliens Vasquez?
Well, the movie came out in the early 80s, and we only have kind of a little bit of her story from the film, things that James Cameron wrote, as well as interviews that were given by the actress and James Cameron. So I took the canon where she, is in East LA. She was recruited from prison for the military service. But I wanted to give her a real life, a real background. And so I incorporated a lot of what I've experienced as a Latina, as a woman of color, into her background. I wanted her to be a real character, but as we all know, she dies in the film. So I took it forward into her legacy for her two children, twins, Ramon and Leticia, who will also carry on her traditions through remembering her through Dia de los Muertos, through their family history of having a military background, which I have myself. So you're going to see a lot of different cultural references. You're going to understand the woman that you see in the film. You're going to understand why she looks that way, why she speaks that way, who she really is, and get more of her legacy, which I love because she's an iconic character. People love her.
And she really is. I think she's the classic case of one of those indelible screen characters. Screen time is relatively brief, but
Oh
such
yeah,
is the power and the impact of the character that she is one of the massive standouts in Aliens that
completely.
everybody remembers. I remember I was at college when Aliens came out, and I remember my fellow female students all absolutely went bananas for Vasquez. That was the big takeout in that movie from them. Obviously, Ripley's an amazing character as well, but
Yeah.
Vasquez really imprinted on, I think, a whole generation of film goers, and in a very powerful way.
Oh, completely. I mean, I'm 43, so when the film came out, I was quite young, so I didn't see it as soon as as soon as it came out. I was a little bit further down the road, but I watched all of them and I loved them. I adored it, and it was great to see. Even though the actress isn't Latina, it was great to see that representation on the screen and say, "Wow, she's such a badass." And I remember, bandanas were huge and, when I growing up, and there were bandanas all over my house. So I loved that. And coming from a military family as well, it was great to see all of it.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely wonderful. What was your how did you come to the Alien and the Alien series? Was Alien the first movie you encountered in the franchise?
Absolutely, because again, I'm born 79, and so the films were quite popular still.
That's the year that Alien came out, if I remember correctly.
The first one, yeah, when I was born, and then it was still quite popular growing up. And I came from a family who love horror, who love sci-fi, and yeah, I saw them when I was probably like 8 or 9. I was too young. But yeah, the films were the first kind of, dabbling into it. And it wasn't until later, becoming a writer, that I discovered the books and discovered all of this IP, and was just like, wow, I really want to be a part of that. I really want to bring something different to these stories. Because all my life I've consumed this media, but now to be a part of it and to also give back to my culture and community, and also, as you open these doors to other writers from different cultures, you are also opening more readers, because you'll have a reader, especially female readers, that are like, oh, well, I don't know about sci-fi, but they know my previous work, and they're like, oh, V. Castro, I loved The Queen of Cicadas, I loved this, I'm going to give it a go. So, yes, publishing is a business. We're in the business of selling books, but also in the process of opening these doors to other readers, you're also, expanding the community and giving people more to read and more to enjoy. When they might not have picked up that book because they weren't sure that they would like it or could trust who was writing it. And now it's really great to be in that position to say, come over to the dark side.
That's wonderful. That's brilliant. Who did you work on who was your editor at Titan Books?
Steve Saffel.
The mighty Steve Saffel.
Oh my gosh, I love him. I absolutely adore Steve. And we worked really well together, and he really kind of got me what I was trying to say, my vision. It was great, and again, it just flew out of me, the story, which is always a great feeling when you are in that kind of state of flow and you know what you want to say and what's happening. So yeah, it was great working with Steve, 100%.
He's a great bloke. Steve and I go way back, and he's one of Titan's many secret weapons. So I'm glad you had the experience of working with him. I think the whole concept of this book is so wonderful. And I think one of the curious things about the Vasquez character, and I'm going totally from memory here, so if this is wrong, please let me know. But I think one of the things that's fascinating about Vasquez, she's an amazing Latin character created by a Caucasian filmmaker, and actually played by an actor who wasn't Latin, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I think for you to be able to seize that character and tell her story, but with that sense of authenticity, I think that's very important I would imagine is important to you as well, for the character's portrayal and the character's voice.
100%. And I can't tell you how many people with just my other books and now this, they're saying, we've wanted this, we've needed this is amazing. And I just get so many amazing messages of people who are like, we pre-ordered it, we cannot wait. They're really excited in my community about it, and can't wait to dig into her story and see more of that. And I'm just glad I can give it to them. And again, there is that gap in the market where, there are communities that are really hungry for these stories. And we've seen with Prey and The Woman King and a lot of these other films that are just breaking boundaries, that desire is really truly there. And it is just a matter of kind of taking that chance now and running with it, and letting people have what they want.
I couldn't agree more. What did you think of Prey?
I have not seen it yet. I've been finishing. This is my problem. When I am trying to finish projects, I am like this.
Yeah, of course.
Blinders.
All right.
And in writing mode, I just have to focus and write. And I'm like, I can't watch anything. But now things have calmed down and I can actually watch films. So Prey is on the top. And then there's so many awesome films coming out for Halloween. And I've kind of said, okay, October is the time I'm going to watch.
Yeah, that's the perfect month. I think you'll really enjoy Prey. And
I can't wait.
It touches upon some of the conversational points we've had. We actually hosted the premiere of Prey at Forbidden Planet London, and I interviewed the filmmakers and the actors on for Forbidden Planet TV back when it opened, and they were
amazing.
They were a delightful bunch, and they had taken what they were doing very seriously, thought it through very carefully, and I would say it is far and away the best Predator sequel. It's in a league of its own, really. Very different. It's got a more serious tone, in fact, less camp than the original movie is.
Yeah,
which I also love. But it's a great piece of work, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I think you'll really respond to it.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, I hope at some point, if things change, that I absolutely would write the hell out of an AVP or Predator book, just because again, it's like that. Growing up in that era of those films, these incredible films that came out, that I think shaped our culture and shaped sci-fi horror. There's just some really cool things that happen, and to bring those back now and give them to the future generations, I think is really fun thing, and really, I'll never forget my childhood because of them. So.
No, of course. I couldn't agree more. And Violet, what are you working on at the moment that you can tell me about?
Oh, okay. Well, at the moment, I have always so many fires in the, irons in the fire, I should say. At the moment, I've just turned in a ton of books to my agent. So, I'm just on submission across the board, just trying to get everything in. And I'm just, like I said, taking a little breather to see what comes next before I start, and dabbling into screenwriting. I think I mentioned to you about the comic. A few years ago, when I first started writing, I wrote a short story called The Kukui of Cancun. And it was for an anthology about vacation horror. And everybody knows kind of the mythology of the Kukui. And I wanted to expand on, well, what is a kukui? What is the concept of a boogeyman? So I actually set it in a motel in Cancun where, you have spring breakers come in and out. There's a lot of transients. And so I thought, well, if I was a kukui, if I was a flesh-eating kukui, this creature that preyed on people, that came and went, where would I want to be? And so I've created this kind of this place where she's living the high life in this motel, preying on tourists. So I give you, how she meets people at conferences and takes them to like the ninth hole. And you've got the crocodiles, which you really do. You have, crocodiles on some of the golf courses, and you have the signs in Mexico, like, watch out. So I have kind of that in there. but I've also taken it a step further and wrote, because people loved the story. I mean, they just went nuts. Um, and I had a few other short stories people loved, and I've just recently turned in a novella to my agent, which brings all of those characters together in a one place called the Pink Agave Motel. And again, it's kind of like this strange world of creatures. So yeah, the comic is, you know, people are going to get to, they've read about the kukui. She's pretty fearsome, but now they get to see her in action. So it's a fun bit of like horror.
Amazing.
But still has a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff. It's sexy too. I think that's what people like also. It's quite sexy. So you get that as well.
That's wonderful. That does sound amazing, and thank you for sharing about the creation of Aliens Vasquez, which once again everyone can buy from the links attached to our conversation.
Yes.
And thanks so much for coming and joining me on Forbidden Planet TV. It's been wonderful meeting you, Violet.
Thank you for having me.
And remember, please come back and visit us again when you've got your next book out.
I will. Lots of stuff, exciting things happening.
Brilliant. It's lovely to meet you. You take care of yourself.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.